guys, welcome to my channel. So today I am posting the explanation of the 5th chapter of science, which is the fundamental unit of life. I hope that you all like this. So please, I am going to start now. So what is the meaning of the fundamental unit of life? It means what is the basic unit of the life, which is known as the cell, and it is even known as the basic structural and the functional unit of life. So it is an unit which can perform all types of function. Now, who have discovered the cell? It was discovered by the Robert Hooke in 1665, and he named it in a cell because it is a Latin word which means a little room. The same as the nucleus was also invented by the Robert Brown in the 1831. So next point comes that what are the structure of the cell. So like we all know that the cell is the basic unit. So we can give an example of the thing by which we can show what is the basic unit of a particular substance or a thing. For example, we can take an onion bulb. What is the smallest unit? The smallest unit is the type of the thing or a substance by which the whole onion bulb is made, and afterwards the onion bulb germinates and also form the other walls of the onion bulb. These all are living in their own form. Now, when the microscope was discovered, we can also imagine about an organism which is a single-celled organism which is named as amoeba, chlamydomonas, and even paramecium. This is another example of a single-cell organism which is known as the bacteria. So, the organisms which have only one cell are known as the unicellular organism. Uni means single. Now, we don't come in a category of like unicellular organism. We come in a category of multicellular organism, which means that we are made up of millions of cells. So, we are known as the multi, which means many cells. Now, like there are also different types of cells in our body and they perform different functions. But do these cells have their own different shape? Yes, they have. For example, we can give the nerve cell, which are branched and irregular. The others are the muscle cells, which are smooth and spindle. Sometimes there are also other organisms which are single celled, but they have a irregular shape. So what shape they have? They don't have any shape. They always move to capture the food. For example, the amobia. And they have the false feet, which is known as the pseudopodia, which is used by them to move. Now, nerve cells have a typical type of shape and they perform a different function like to carry message from brain to other parts of the body.
Excuse me, can I ask one question?
Yes.
What do you mean by pseudopodia? Pseudopodia is used only for walking?
No, the pseudopodia is actually the outgrowths of the amobia, which are also named as the false feet. They use this pseudopodia even to capture food, to reproduce, and even to walk. So next come that now we have different parts of our body and they function different work. For example, the heart which pumps the blood, and even the stomach to digest the food, as our lungs also makes our air clean. And now how this cell works, we have to know this. As the cell's basic unit is the cell organelles, which are small units in the cell which help it to work for like clearing up the wastage or the other material from the cell, and even to make the blood in the cell as a good and to clean the blood. So next, these are the main point which we are learning in this, which is the organelles. But whenever we next point comes that what is cell and what is it made up of, what is the structural and the organization of the cell. So whenever we microscope a cell, we can always see the three main parts, which are always the plasma membrane, a cytoplasm, and the nucleus. So first we will learn about the plasma membrane, which is also known as the cell membrane. This plasma membrane is actually the outer covering of the cell which keeps all the contents in the cell, and also it separates the contents of the cell from the external environment. The plasma membrane also permits the entry or exit of some of the materials. So the plasma membrane always chooses the materials which must be allowed inside the cell. It is also because of this work it is also named as the selectively permeable membrane. Now for example, like some substances like carbon dioxide, it is harmful for us, so this must be removed from our cell. This is also done by the work of plasma membrane, but it is termed as the diffusion. Diffusion is the main term which is named for the flowing of the carbon dioxide in the cell and outside the cell. Now how does this happen? The carbon dioxide is actually living in the lower concentration. So whenever the concentration of the area increases, the carbon dioxide also shifts out. Now whenever our cell concentration is low, the carbon dioxide comes in, but when we don't need the carbon dioxide, the cell slowly generates the higher concentration in the cell, and because of this, when the concentration would be higher from the outer environment, this carbon dioxide will directly move out. Then even we all also need the oxygen. So oxygen is very important for us, but if we would keep it our body for a long time, then it would be harmful for us. This also takes place because of the diffusion. Like when the oxygen enters in our cell, it only enters because the concentration in the cell is low, but when the concentration increases, the oxygen moves out on its own. Now this is very helpful in the plants and our own skin for the exchange of gases, and in the plants also exchange of gases and even the water. Now how can we show like where is osmosis done? Then we can show this osmosis in the form of an activity. Now we can use an animal cell. So this can be also shown by an experiment, like we can take some water and we can mix some salt or sugar in it. Then afterwards we can put an animal cell, or you can also use a plant cell, and if you don't have the both, you can also use the resin, which means kishmish or drakshi. Then when we will put this cell in the water, we can always get the three conditions. The first condition is that if the cell started swelling up, this means that the concentration outer of your cell or the surrounding is very high, and so all the water is moving inside the cell because of the osmosis. And if this happens, it means that the solution is hypotonic solution. The second condition is that where the cell doesn't swell up or don't make any changes, which means that the concentration is equal in both the areas. The water is going in and as well as coming out in the same amount. So this type of solution is known as isotonic solution. But if we see that the cell starts shrinking, this means that the concentration is very high in the cell and the water is going inside the cell, but still a lot of amount of water is lost by the cell, and this type of solution is known as the hypertonic solution. Now we can also see osmosis in different types of other areas. For example, the roots of the plants and even the stems. The roots use the osmosis to absorb the water from the soil, and diffusion is also very important for the exchange of gases in the leaves and even the stem of the plant. Now by this we get to know that the plasma membrane is flexible, and it is also made up of the organic molecules, which is made up of lipid and protein. The plasma membrane can be only seen through an electron microscope. The flexibility of the cell membrane enables the cell to engulf the food in and the material from its external environment. This process is known as the endocytosis. Now you must be thinking that why I am telling this type of program. This is mainly done by the amoeba to engulf the food because it is a single cellular organism. So next point comes the cell wall. Now we all know that the plasma membrane is present in our cell, but in addition to the plasma membrane there is also the cell wall, which is not present in the human beings or the animals but only in plants. And its outer covering is too rigid, and so that the plant must be strong. The cell wall lies outside of the plasma membrane, and it is mainly composed of cellulose. The cellulose is actually a complex substance and provides the strength to the plants. When a living plant cell loses its water through an osmosis, the shrinkage of the plant is made or done. The contents of the cell from the cell wall. This phenomena is known as the plasmolysis, which means this means that what is the meaning of plasmolysis is that when the water um, is removed from the plant through the osmosis, then it is known as the plasmolysis. And we have also learned in the earlier classes that the plants also lose the water through the transpiration. Now, like cell walls, what does the cell wall helps? The cell walls permit the cells of the plants, fungi and bacteria to withstand very dilute, which means hypotonic solution, external media without bursting. This means that it have a high concentration in the media, so it have low concentration in the cell. So whenever a fungi, carbon dioxide, bacteria comes inside the cell wall or inside the stem of the cell wall helps the plant to stop from bursting, because we know that in a hypotonic solution the cells swell up. So next come that in the cell wall also help the plant to gain the water and to transport water from the other areas to the other parts of the plant. This is also an example of osmosis. Then the cell makes a pressure against the cell wall, which stops the swelling of the stem always. The wall exerts an equal pressure against the swollen cell. Because of their wall, such as cells can withstand much greater changes in the surrounding medium than animal cells. So this was only today's work. We have completed some points which were main point, like what is cell, discovery of cell and different types of cell organism, the osmosis, plasma membrane and even the cell wall. Now next we are going to do the nucleus and the cytoplasm, cell organelles and the cell division. You can see this video afterwards in the part 2. Thank you.